In this video, we're going to go over setting up a Roland VH-10 with an eDRUMin module. The controller plugs into one of the inputs on the back of the unit. And the symbol with the Roland logo facing away from you plugs into one of the inputs on the front. But I'm not going to plug it in just yet. We're going to go into the control application and set up the controller first. So I've just reset my pedal input. So the first thing I'm going to do is set up the pedal and splash notes. I'm triggering in Superior Drummer 3 and I happen to know they're 21 and 23. So I'll set those up now. And now we're going to calibrate. There are two things we need to adjust on this hi-hat. One is how high the cymbal is, and the other is this knob. I'm first just going to adjust it to any random height. Mechanically, this knob controls how far down the plunger is pushed when the pedal is in the closed position. So I'm going to start by turning it counterclockwise, loosening it off. And I want you to listen. You hear that harsh, hard plastic on metal sound? That's the plunger bottoming out at the end of its travel. It doesn't sound good and it can't be good for the controller either. All right, so let's do the other extreme. Let's tighten it up, turning it clockwise as far as it goes. It gets pretty tight. All right, notice when I rest my foot down on the pedal, it's not registering fully closed. We're at 110. I actually have to push pretty hard with my foot to get it to go all the way closed. What you want to do is adjust this knob so that when you rest your foot on the pedal, it's almost closed. And when you put a little bit more force, it's fully closed. Like that. I rest my foot, 122. Push a little bit harder, I'm at 127. All right, next we'll talk about the height. You see that gap in there? Roland recommends a 3mm gap. I personally don't like a gap for a couple of reasons, but probably the biggest reason is just the sound. Listen. You got that clickety-clack sound. So what I like to do is make it so that there's no gap. Now that the hi-hat is properly set up on the hi-hat stand, we should have no problem triggering closed pedal notes. Now we can stop calibrating and we'll talk about some of the controls for adjusting the feel and responsiveness of the hi-hat pedal. The travel control determines where along the pedal's travel a note will be generated. Set it too low and your pedal notes will sound like they're arriving before your foot actually goes all the way down. Set it too high, and you might have difficulty triggering softer pedal notes. 75% should work well for most hi-hat setups. The gain control allows us to adjust the velocity of the closed pedal notes. Earlier, the notes were sounding too soft, so we'll want to increase it. That's better, but I think I need a little bit more. All right, that sounds good. Now we're ready to connect our hi-hat cymbal. I had reset the settings for the hi-hat, so I'm just going to pull up this Roland hi-hat preset for the VH-10 just to save time. Yes, and we'll pull up the drum map, and we're already set Superior Drummer 3, and I want to trigger the hi-hat, so I'll click there. Now, I want you to see what happens when I go to trigger a closed pedal note. Right, those white dots that you're seeing are vibrations traveling through the cymbal when I slam my foot down, and they're causing mistriggers. So we need to filter those out. And the way we do that is by linking the hi-hat controller and the hi-hat cymbal. And we do that from the pedal editor. So we click on this link button and we select the input that we plugged our hi-hat cymbal into. All right, and now you can see the icon has changed. So let's go back and let's see what happens now. In the scrolling view there, you can see the red. That's indicating that the hi-hat pedal is now applying crosstalk cancellation to our hi-hat cymbal. Probably too much. We can adjust the amount of crosstalk cancellation using this control. So let's turn it down a little bit. All right, it's still more than I need. In fact, if you look at this meter, the yellow part here is showing us exactly how much crosstalk cancellation we would need to filter out that last note. So this shows us that we can drop it down. I'm going to keep a little bit of a buffer, but this should be pretty good. So have you noticed the weird hi-hat artifacts coming from Superior Drummer? This is because of how it transmutes hi-hat sounds. It's a great feature that adds lots of realism, but can also make unwanted sounds when doing fast pedal movements. Enabling fast stepping fix prevents Superior Drummer from transmuting the hi-hat samples when doing fast stepping. All right, let's listen to the difference. The splash sensitivity control sets how easy it is to trigger a splash. The higher you set this control, the easier it is to trigger. You want to find a nice balance between being able to do fast stepping and being able to easily trigger a splash. All right, sounds like I can probably increase it a tiny bit. Let's go up to 27, try that. And that's it. Our hi-hat is all set up and ready to go.